Good Sunday morning. It's time for the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show, and you can see over here, I've been organizing CDs. CDs are cheap right now, and it's a good alternate to vinyl. And I know I was saying I was selling all my CDs, but I put that on hold, put the brakes on, because I realized going through the 90s that I have a lot of holes to fill on my albums, and those during the CD era. So I need to keep the CDs from the 90s, late 80s and the 90s that I don't have vinyl for, because the vinyls are hundreds of dollars. So what do? Now I got to be on the hunt and find those same CDs that I sold for cheap. Yeah, that's what I'll be doing this year. And then rebuilding my CD rack. First, I got to go through and see what I have. Then I got to see what I need. So that's the plan for this year. Buy less albums and more CDs, and they're cheaper. And there's a lot of videos out there that are talking about that. So I'm going to show you what I picked up this week. I went to Fantastic Finds in Conover. They're closing the end of the month. So if you're over in the Conover area, North Carolina, you might want to stop in and see them, because they got really good deals. They had one booth that was selling records that were 50% off, and I picked up a few there. Then I went to the Antique Corner Mall with my wife, and we went, and that's in Hudson, North Carolina. We went in there, and I picked up a few things there. And then, let me get a little shot of tea here. We went yesterday to the Hickory Toy and Card Show down in Hickory, North Carolina, which kind of ended up being a bust, but I had contacted somebody, and they told me there was one guy there, he had 4 boxes of records. So it cost $5 each to get in. Parking was free. So I went in there, we walked the whole place, took us about 40 minutes probably. I found the guy that had the 6 boxes of records, whatever it was. I seen a couple I wanted. One of them was a original copy, Capricorn, of the Pink label of the Allman Brothers live, and but it was all scratched and beat up. And he wanted $20 for it. I said, well, that ain't gonna work. And then I found a couple other things that I'm going to show you at the very end that we bargained on, and we figured out. And there was another thing there that I had. It had the wrong poster in it, so it was all they had, though. So I didn't want to leave empty-handed, so I ended up picking up 2 records at this show. Then my nephew, I went out to dinner with him last night, and he's commented on here before, and he said, why'd you go to a toy and card show for records? Because I had talked to somebody. But it was a bust. It was really 6 boxes of records in this huge hall of Star Trek and Star Wars stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and look into my top 10, mostly CDs, and a couple albums of 1992. And then we're going to do that first. We're going to do the top 10 this week first, so that I know everybody's on the edge of their seat wanting to know what I was listening to in 1992. And it was probably a lot different than most people. But coming in hot at number 10 was Thomas Dolby. And Thomas Dolby made an album called Astronauts and Heretics. And I was all in on Thomas Dolby. He was one of the 80 bands, along with Tears for Fears, and of course the leftover people from the 70s like Gabriel and Phil Collins, and those people were trying to reinvent themselves in the 80s. But there was a few new artists in the 80s, and Thomas Dolby was one of them. And so for some reason he hit a chord with me, and I enjoyed his music. So coming in at number 10 was the Astronauts and Heretics. Coming in at number 9 was Lindsey Buckingham. And Lindsey Buckingham was making CDs, and I need to go ahead and fix this one. He was making albums and CDs in the 90s. This one here is called Out of the Cradle. And to buy this on vinyl, it's, upwards over $100. So I'll be keeping this one. And that's another reason for this. And I need to get a new CD player because what I have is very, very tiny. It's over there on the next to my turntable. And it sounds okay, but I need something a little bit more, with a little more power. So, yeah, Out of the Cradle, Lindsey Buckingham, coming in at number 9. Number 8, coming in at number 8 is Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And like I was saying, a lot of the bands from the 70s were trying to be relevant in the 80s, and they came back and made this masterpiece, a book called Black Moon. And they had a follow-up to that called In the Hot Seat, which I'll probably be showing in the next couple of years. This had Paper Blood on it, Affairs of the Heart, Farewell to Arms. There's some good stuff on this album. Don't sleep on Black Moon if you're an ELP fan, because some of this stuff is really good. And it ended up them doing this live, and you can see it on YouTube and other places. And it really sounded good. Greg Lake was in real good form, and it was a really good album for the 80s. Where are we at? Coming in number 7. This was a band called Jadis, and these guys were an offshoot of a neo-prog band called IQ. And this album, I remember being all in on Jadis, and I don't think my buddy John cared for him at the time. I remember him saying something about it, and didn't really spark his interest. But Jadis was a good band. They made a couple great albums in the beginning, and this was their first album, More Than Meets the Eye, coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is Neil Young's Harvest Moon. Now, this album is a very good album, but I wasn't listening. I don't remember listening to this in 92, but it showed up on my Discogs. It's coming out that year, and I bought it recently, and I really enjoyed the album. And I'm all in on Neil Young, pretty much. I don't really care for the Crazy Horse stuff, but I like his stuff like this, and this is kind of going back to his Harvest days, and this is Harvest Moon. I got a little bit of little phlegm this morning, as you can tell. Okay, so where are we at? I knew I was going to screw this up. Coming in at number 5 is Peter Gabriel. And Peter Gabriel came out in 92 with Us. And this was a really strong album. He toured this album, Come Talk to Me, Blood of Eden, Steam, Secret World. I didn't see this tour. I would have liked to have seen this tour. I've seen it on video. And at 92, I was just getting finished with Desert Storm. And I remember I was stationed out on my ship in Pascagoula, Mississippi. And that's where I was in 92, if you remember the picker back in those days. Okay, coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 4. And number 3 is another band that I really wasn't listening to that strongly in 92. I had to catch up with this band and go back. It was Porcupine Tree. And this album is called On the Sunday of Life. And I didn't start in on Porcupine Tree until like 94, around there, with Signify. So this album here would have came out before I started listening to them, when I was already stationed down in Orlando. So yeah, On the Sunday of Life, coming in at number 4. Great album. Coming in at number 3 is this one right here. This album is called Voyage 34. And this is a psychedelic acid trip that it talks about Steven Wilson. I don't know if he took it, but it's all about somebody being on a psychedelic acid trip. This album is really good. If you love prog, then you would really get into these 2 albums, and as much as I do. Coming in at number 2. Coming in at number 2 is Little Earthquakes, Tori Amos. And like I was saying, I was stationed out in Pascagoula, and me and my nephew, and then me and a girl I was dating at the time, and somebody else. I went and saw her show 3 times, her first tour. I've never seen her since. And I got a picture up there where she signed an autograph picture when I met her. And she's kind of like reinventing Kate Bush. She was like the next phase from Kate Bush was like Kate Bush and then Tori Amos. And this album here was all over the radio, was all over everywhere. And this really took her off like a rocket. And then her tour was excellent. She was on stage by herself playing a piano. But later on, she has a band now, and I haven't seen her since, but I would love to go and see her again. I really enjoyed her music. I got to meet her backstage on one of the times I saw her, and just an incredible artist. Coming in at number 1, and this is one of my favorite jazz artists of all time, and Pat Metheny. And this is probably, it could be my very favorite Pat Metheny album if you ask me today, but tomorrow it might be a different one. But I love Pat Metheny. Another artist I've never seen. I'd like to go see him. Next time he's in Asheville, I think I'll drive up there and see him, because I don't really want to not ever see him. So Secret Story is the name of the album. Just an incredible album. I know it's a favorite of John's, and it's a favorite of mine, and it deserves to be number 1 of 1992. Okay, so what are your favorite albums of 1992? You can look back in your Discogs and you can see what you have for 92, and then you can pull it up, or you can Google it. Music from 1992, and most likely are going to be CDs, because that's pretty much all we had at that time. If you went to Best Buy or one of those places, there was CDs everywhere. Walmart, everywhere you could look, there was CDs. So we went to where did we go first? We went to Fantastic Finds. And that's the store I was telling you that is closing, and it's not going to be open any longer. Because why? Because it's closing. And they're closing on January 31st. So if you're in that area, you might want to get over there before they close. I did find this there. I found Isaac Hayes Shaft. It had like $5 on this. And this thing is really nice. So it was like, it had it marked down for 10, and like I was saying, everything was 50% off in this one little area that I was looking at inside the store. It was in a booth, and it was like tucked around the corner. So make sure you look good when you go into those booths there, if you end up going there. But I got this for $5. It's a double album, and everybody's in VC's been showing it. So if you're not subbed up to the North Carolina Vinyl Picker, do it now. Hit that button, hit the bell, and sub me up. I'm up every week. And I usually do at least one show during the weekday on Wednesday. So thank you very much for all my new subscribers. I've gotten like 15 subscribers in the last week. So that's really good. And if you made it this far, then you must like me to watch enough to watch to watch to the end. While I was in the antique store, I stumbled across this one. And he had this one there. He had it marked down for $15, and I ended up getting it for $7.50. And this was Perfect Strangers, and this is when Richie Blackmore and everybody came back and played with him. So I haven't spun this yet, and that's kind of like a blind buy because I've never heard the album. So I'm looking forward to giving that a spin. In the same booth, I found this gem, Alvin Lee and Company, 10 Years After Live. This is going to be good. I haven't ever got into 10 Years After. I know they're kind of blues-based rock, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to get myself into, but that's probably a huge rabbit hole to go down. I'm looking forward to giving that a spin. I'm going to save this one for last. I ended up messing up on this one. I got Grand Funk Lives, so this is after the main man left the band, and Mark Forner. And they made 2 albums. I think this one here and the other one's called What's Funk or something like that. But I thought this was the one I was missing, and I actually already have this. So this will be going in my store. And there'll be a link down below in Discogs and eBay. So if you need to pick up this album, it'll be in there for cheap, really cheap. So probably like $5 or something. So Grand Funk Lives. This is after Mark Forner was out of the band, so to speak. Kicked out, thrown out, left on his own. It's up to your interpretation, I guess. And this one here, I had it at $10. I got it for $5. And I remember having this gun here, when I was a kid, it was a camera that when you opened it up, and it ended up being a Luger like. And yeah, people of a certain age will know who these people are. And the man from U.N.C.L.E., they've both since passed away. But this man here was in some Westerns as well, Robert Vaughn. But just a great show, cop and robber show. Like, you know, they were like 007 guys. And so this was pretty cool. I had to put this, and I put this in my record room next door. So that was cool. What else do I got at the show? Oh, I got these here. These here came in the mail. And this is a prog band called Le Orme. And like I said, I'm all in on Italian progressive rock. And this one is Uma di Pisa. I think I'm saying that right. So I'm looking forward to giving that a spin. I have it on CD, but now I still have it on CD. But I'm not sure if I'll keep that or not. I may just pass that on to somebody. And this one here, The Last Encore, this is a Kayak album that I didn't have. This is a Dutch band, progressive rock band. And now I'm only missing, I think, their first album. And this is a really good outfit. And this album will go over here in the prog bin when I'm finished today. This is probably the best album that I found all week. And this came in the mail, actually. I had put Horror-Zoo in as a find in eBay to look for. And this album popped up. This is a Horror-Zoo copy of Help by the Beatles. And this thing is really, really nice. As far as being minty mint, I put it in the Humming Guru. I really didn't need to, but I did anyway. And it sounds incredible. I never had this album. I never had a copy of Help. But I knew I wanted a good copy, but it doesn't have the cover. And I paid $10 for this. And to get a Horror-Zoo for $10 is just astronomically insane. So, but I'm going to make a cover for it. I think I can take a picture and take it to Staples, and they can blow it up. And then a 12 by 12, and then I can slide it in there. We're going to see. I'm going to ask them if they can do that. And if anybody out there knows where I can get a picture off of a JPEG or something on your camera and take it there and then have them blow it up, let me know. But I'm thinking that that's that's what I want to do. I got a couple more things to show you. So yesterday we went to the Hickory Toy and Card Show. And I was telling you about that. And I found a couple things there. This one here, Isaac Hayes, Hot Buttered Soul. Another album that people have been showing in the vinyl community. Yeah, people are all getting in on Isaac Hayes. It seems to be the craze. So we'll pick that one up. And then this is the one I found for $15. It's Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits Volume 2. And right now, Bob Dylan is hot because of the movie. But these albums in here, I looked at them and they're just incredibly, I didn't even put them in plastic. They're like they've never been played. This album is pretty darn old. So I was looking for the poster that was in here because I think that it was that psychedelic poster. But it wasn't. This is not the one that they had in here. They had the Live at Budokan poster. So I think they put the wrong poster in here. And I don't know where the psychedelic poster was. But the guy was thinking that the psychedelic poster was actually in the Greatest Hits Volume 1. So I don't know. I gotta research that. But for $15, I was still gonna pick it up because it was something I didn't have, and I don't really have a lot of Bob's early stuff. So there you go. Oh my gosh, 19 minutes already. I've really been rambling today, haven't I? Trying to make these short because I know people don't stay after 6 minutes. Okay, so the last place that I went to was at the Antique Corner Mall, and that was in Hudson, North Carolina. And I found a few things there, and I've already spun this. This is a classic. And he had, I think it was $10 on this, or $8. And this is Mad Dogs and Englishmen. This was Joe Cocker with Leon Russell and just a cast of characters. But what really got me was how clean it was for being so old, you know. So I really enjoyed this. I spun it, and I love all these songs, these old songs. They're all great. This one here was a little pricey. I think I overpaid for it, but it's the Quadrophenia from the soundtrack from the Who film, from the movie. And I think I was like $12, and I think I paid a little over $9 for it. But I think you can pick this album up for like $5. So I paid up a little bit for it. It looks like a white label promo, but I don't know. I don't see promo on there. But it's a Polydor and it's a white label. So this one was $5. I like Rod Stewart. I never really got into his stuff from the 80s. But this one here is Tonight I'm Yours. Because I always figured it was all disco stuff, but it's not. There's like maybe one disco song on the album I listened to the other day. And then this one here, I haven't heard yet. But that's when I saw Rod Stewart, was in the 80s and or his late 70s. He did Hot Legs. And then this one here was, I've been looking for a copy of George Harrison's Cloud 9 because this is a really good album. This one's hard to find clean. It was let's say it's a party record, but a lot of the times you find this album, it's all scuffed up and it's not clean. So I remember hearing this record when I was stationed over in the Philippines. And somebody had it on either vinyl or a CD at the time. A guy that I knew over there. But it's a really good, strong album. One of George Harrison's last albums he did with Jeff Lynne. I think Jeff Lynne produced this from ELO. So I hope you stuck here to the end. I'm going to have another little sip of tea, and I'm going to say goodbye. And I'll be seeing you during the week. Maybe there's another tag out there. Oh my gosh. How many tags can we do? You know, we ought to have the old man skin tag or something. We've had tag this, tag that. So, yeah, so I got to figure out if there's any more tags out there. If there is, I'll do one on Wednesday. If not, then we'll do something else. Oh, we got to do the Harvest Records. That's what it is. Part 3 in my journey through the import records. Yes, it's going to be part 3. You know, we first started off with Vertigo, and then we did Brain. Now we're going to go and look at Harvest Records. I already got a stack going over here. So I got that all set up, ready to go for Wednesday. And then we'll have 2 more after that. So I hope you're enjoying that those little shows. And then we're going to wrap it up after 5, and then we'll move on to something else. I got some other ideas. So we'll talk to you soon. It was a long show today. I hope you stick around for 23 minutes. Support them troops out there if you can, and we'll be talking to you soon. And North Carolina Vinyl Picker, I'm out of here. I got to go. I'll talk to you later. I got stuff to do. Bye for now. Got to go out there and bang the bushes, you know. Go look out for some more CDs. I got to find some CDs now. Oh, my gosh, it never ends, does it?